Hey guys, it's Stass here. Look what we've got. We've got the new Grainfather G70. This is my little original Grainfather, which has seen many upgrades, now called the G30. Let's take a look. I've just received this from Grainfather. They've kindly given me a loaner unit, and I'm going to run it through its paces, but I thought I'd give not necessarily an unboxing, but an initial impressions how they've changed the design for the G70 over the original Grainfather, now called the G30. Let's get to it. So you can see the first difference obviously is the size, and this is a 70 litre unit. Obviously the 70 litres is the total boil capacity, so you're probably targeting a batch size around 60 to 65 litres realistically in this G70. Same thing with this Grainfather G30, 30 litre capacity. If you really push it you can get maybe 32, but your realistic maximum batch size is probably around 23-25 litres on this one. Finally, the first thing I see, which is a welcome upgrade, we have a lid with a handle. How good is that? Now there is a small hole, I'm assuming that's to vent out steam. G30. Seems like a similar sort of tempered glass. But yeah, really happy with those as a feature upgrade. Next one, handles. Having used the Braumeister, which I believe is the original all-in-one, I'll probably be corrected in the comments for that. This guy came out without handles. You can grab it by the lip, but it's kind of a bit dangerous, and you definitely don't want to do that if it's full of liquid. You can also use the ring as an extra grip, but it has popped out when I've done that. Again, I haven't done that when it's full, just with some cleaning fluid just to tip it out. So the handles is a really welcome addition. Again, not really for lifting when it's full. This thing's heavy enough. It's about 30 kilos and is significantly heavier than this one. Moving around to the side, we've got our sight glass, which is in litres and gallons. It's got a metal shroud on it, so it's not going to get knocked or broken. I'll check the accuracy of the markings when I actually get to fill it up with water. Redesigned control panel, attaches via magnets. You can see they've changed it from a more of a flat, looking down to it, angle for operation to more of an angled one. We'll see how it is. I'm guessing that they're banking on most people operating this on their smart device, be it an iPad or a smartphone. So if you've got this on a table, you're probably not going to use it on a table because it's just too heavy to lift it up. You know, you're probably going to operate it on the ground. So this may not be so convenient to view from standing, but again, like I said, the smart device is probably going to be how most people are going to interact with it. This is also Wi-Fi as opposed to the Kinect controller, which is Bluetooth only, so that's a bit of a benefit. I believe this screen is colour display as opposed to just the monochrome display on the original Grainfather, sorry, the Grainfather Kinect. It attaches here with a single multi-pin, looks like a 8-pin multi-core cable. I guess that's better. The thing that really annoys me about the Grainfather, when you come to clean it, you need to take this off and disconnect the pump and the elements from the bottom, pull out the thermowell, set it down, tip this out, and then to fill it up with water again and bring it to boil, or heat it up again for cleaning, or to pump water around, you've got to reconnect it all. And those keen-eyed among you, I've actually removed, there was a bar across here which sort of protects the cables. That just added an extra layer of annoyance to me when taking this off, so I just removed it. It's been fine. But a lot of people are giving Grainfather a bit of stick for the design of this, having a cable which is sort of swaying in the breeze, so to speak. We'll see how that performs when we actually brew with it, but it's not too bad. It's a bit kind of unfortunate that the actual physical cable goes in front of the Grainfather logo. I don't know, it doesn't seem that bad to me, but a lot of people are thinking it's a bit of a dumb idea. You've got a tap now on the G70 which locks on. Obviously it'll be open. There's a pump under here. We'll see how we go while I've got it, but I'm thinking of taking the bottom off and just to see how the pump is installed and all of that. If you'd like to see that, leave a comment down below, and if enough people want to see it, I'll make it so. So yeah, the way it works, put your pump on, and these are like a flow direction valve. You've got your little ball valve up here. If that's closed, can't come up here. If that's closed, it's a magnetic drive pump, it'll just keep spinning. But once you open this, it'll flow out of there. Close that off, open this, the water can't go out there, or the wort, so it'll be pumped up here into the overflow pipe, which I will show you in a minute. Before we get in, we have got an upgraded lift arm. Obviously it's much beefier, lifting, I think it's up to 17 kilograms of grain plus water, so you're probably looking at 25, up to 25-ish kilos. You need a stronger bar, and you've got a little pulley. If you want to install a pulley or winch or something like that, that's fine, and it is meant for a two-person lift. So here we've got the two malt pipes, G70, G30. You can see there's massive amounts of difference. Just looking at the top plate, quality wise, obviously the G70 is much bigger than the G30. I remember when I first got my G30, I think I got the original type. The machining on these, the edges were quite sharp, and I had to go around with some sandpaper because I was nicking my fingers and stuff, so I had to sand them, but they're all fine. There's a bit of flex in this. It looks thinner than the steel here. I don't know if you can see, I'll try and zoom in post. You can see the rolled edges around. They look much thicker than they actually are, but it looks probably 50% thicker steel than before, and there's a lot less flex. I'll show you a comparison. So yeah, this is really flimsy, and it's quite small in comparison. So, but you're dealing with a lot more grain, so much nicer machining. Second time around with the bigger product. Bottom plate. Bottom plate in here. There's a little bit of play. I don't know if you can see that in there, but it's totally acceptable. You're not going to get any grain or much grain escaping below that bottom screen. I'll show you pipe. Same sort of deal with the Grainfather G30. Gross. Grainfather G30 similar amount of play in that bottom screen, and I've never really had any issues. The odd bits of grain here and there, but it's totally fine. They talked about the higher tolerance of machining. It's okay, but you know, there's still a bit of play. It looks like it's probably 1 or 2 mil all the way around if it's centered. Again, I'll see if I can show you. So you can see that there is a little bit of play there. Not a lot. Again, the grain's not going to flow up the grain bed. You just want to try and keep that grain in between the two screens. So it's looking positive. The bottom filter, it's 2 parts. There's a little ring where the center drain happens. So this hole sort of goes as like a plug. So this screen here forms the majority of the filter for bits of grain, hot matter, proteins and all that. And this bottom part acts as a secondary filter. If anything gets in there. Looking at the size of the holes, they do look a little bit smaller on the secondary filter, which makes total sense. But I'll see how it goes, if it impedes flow or not. Last but not least, we've got the counterflow chillers. This is the one from the G70. This is the original one from the Grainfather. Look, I've never had a problem with this one. The hoses are getting a little bit kind of gross, and I'm about to replace them. I've seen quite a number of brews. And but it chills it down to within a few degrees of groundwater temperature. And if you're doing a 70 litre brew, you'd expect the chiller to be beefier and able to handle more as well. Over mine, this comes with like a plastic frame, which comes with a spindle, which I'm assuming you could mount on a rod or like a sort of thing, or on a pole, just to keep it balanced if you wanted to put it somewhere there. Mine original one didn't come with anything to mount it on, and you were kind of expected to put it on the lid of the Grainfather, which kind of never really was particularly satisfactory. So hopefully the the pipes for this is long enough so that you can have it sat close, which it looks like it is. It looks like they kind of address that issue. I mean, for the cost of an extra metre of silicone hose. Oh, I'm leaking water all over the table. We can go on the floor, that's okay. Yeah, for an extra metre of cable, it's just so much easier. And with a new push fitting in the top, which I'll show you in a brew day, I think this is going to be much easier to use. And of course, clean in place, which I'm really excited about. So that's been my initial impressions of the Grainfather G70, and I'm hoping to do a couple of brews on it in the coming week or weeks. I've got 2 brews planned. I'm going to try and see what happens when I max out the grain capacity, which I believe is 17 kilos. I think the beer I'm going to brew is actually a little over that, but you know, we'll push the boundaries and see what happens. It's going to be my Black Forest Cake Imperial Stout. I'm going to brew 46 litres of it, so that's about 19 kilos of fermentables, including lactose and brown sugar and that sort of stuff. And I'm going to try and do a standard size brew. I'm thinking the Jedi juice is a good contender. It's a decent amount of hops, but I'm more interested in it for the person who wants to have a system like this, mainly to brew small batches. They want the increased heating capacity to heat up to temperatures faster, and of course the clean in place feature, which that's one of the big bugbears that I have with my system. I know it might seem petty, but every time I lift up the Grainfather, tip it into the sink, fill it up with water, like my back is feeling it. I know I'm not particularly old, but you've got to look after your back. So you've only got one, as my mum used to say, bless her. And so yeah, for someone who might be interested in a system that does do clean in place, I want to test that. And so that's a 46 litre batch, a 23 litre batch, and if I get time I'll do a full 65 or so litre batch of just a standard pale ale. Maybe I'll do a Stone and Wood Pacific Ale sort of brew, something that's nice and easy, and we'll just see how it performs with a full capacity. So anyway, I hope you found this useful. If you did, hit the like button down below. Don't forget, if you're not subscribed already, hit that subscribe button. If you've got any questions that you want me to try and answer while I've got this unit, let me know in the comments down below. So until next time, this has been Stass from Stass Brewing. I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.